Good morning and welcome to Flx Matters. Today we will be talking to Lee Hunt from Deben Travel. So we want to discuss starting a business in a recession and also the wonders of travel. Morning, Lee.
Good morning.
How are you today?
Yeah, very good, thanks.
So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, where do I start? Brought up in Felixstowe, went to Orwell High School, in Felixstowe sixth form.
Yep.
And moved away to Bury St Edmunds in the early 2000s.
Oh, right, yeah.
Now back in the area, living over on Grange Farm in Ipswich.
Okay.
With my wife and two young children.
Brilliant.
So yep, I know Felixstowe well.
Brilliant.
Got very fond memories of Felixstowe. My family still live in Felixstowe.
Oh, do they?
Yeah. So yeah, a place close to my heart still.
So were you brought up down on the beach?
Not well. Brought up in Essex.
Yeah.
Moved to Felixstowe at the age of 11.
Oh, 11.
So
okay,
moved to
yeah.
Felixstowe just as I was starting high school.
Okay.
And then started at Orwell High School. At the age of 11. So
brilliant. So I suppose leading up to Deben Travel, what sort of jobs did you do that made you go, travel is the thing to do?
Well, from leaving school, I remember in sixth form at Orwell High School, we had a careers evening and actually had someone come in and talk to us about travel and about working in travel. And one of my good friends, his father was a regional manager for a travel company, and so I had a bit of an idea about what working in travel was going to be about. And I went along for an interview to be an apprentice for who were at the time Lum Poly, who are now Thompson, and that was in Ipswich. Luckily enough, got the job, and for 2 years worked my way through an NVQ in leisure and tourism, and being paid, I think back then it was about £40 a week I was paid.
Oh, really?
It felt like I had loads of money then compared to what I do now, actually, if only I could go back. But yeah, so after the 2 years of the apprenticeship, then if you're like a fully fledged travel consultant.
Oh, right. Okay.
And but then took the decision to take a little bit of time out. I then went overseas. I went to Austria.
Oh, really?
And I was a ski guide and ski rep for the season.
Oh, wow.
So that was fantastic to do that because I've always had a passion for skiing. Always really enjoyed kind of the winter sports, if you like. And so what better way to combine it than just skiing all day every day with people and having a good time and actually getting paid some money to do it as well.
So brilliant.
Yeah. And ever since being in travel, on coming back from Austria. I was lucky enough to get an assistant manager's position. Back then it was with Thomas Cook.
Thomas Cook, yeah.
And then my career then went from assistant manager to store manager to regional manager with Thomas Cook.
Oh, wow.
So I kind of worked my way up the ranks with Thomas Cook. And yeah, it gets us to today really. So yeah, many years in travel, just over 15 years in travel.
15 years.
Yeah.
So how long were you skiing for?
Only the season.
It was just one season,
went out in a November, came home in a March.
Okay. Do you now go on family holiday skiing, or are you?
I wish I did. With two young children of 3 and 5, they're not quite at the age yet where we can take them. But I really would love to get them into skiing because I didn't start skiing until I was at high school. It was at Orwell High School actually that I first started skiing. The school used to arrange yearly ski trips, and so that's when I first got into my skiing holidays. But certainly when my two children, Adam and Ollie, are a little bit older, I'd love to get them into skiing at an earlier age.
That'd be nice.
Because I think at that age they have no fear, low centre of gravity, so they don't fall over very easily. But yeah, so I'd really like to get them into skiing.
So are you a skier or a boarder?
I'm a skier.
You're a skier.
I've done a bit of boarding, but yeah, skiing's kind of what I know. And I think when you just go away for 1 week's ski holiday, you really do just want to ski rather than try to learn something different.
New,
yeah.
So you started to get back into assistant manager, into store manager, into so was that a quick progression, was it?
Reasonably quick. I became a regional manager when I was 21, and for Thomas Cook that was the youngest regional manager they'd ever had at the time.
Oh, really?
But I kind of just took an opportunity that presented itself. At the time I was manager of Thomas Cook in Sudbury.
Okay.
And I was living in Bury St Edmunds, so Bury St Edmunds to Sudbury wasn't a bad run every day. And a regional manager vacancy became available in the southwest of England, looking after all the shops from Bristol down to Land's End.
Wow.
But living in Bury St Edmunds.
Oh.
I just met Sarah, who is now my wife, and so didn't feel I could really move away.
Yeah.
And so most days I commuted.
Oh.
So Bury St Edmunds down to Bristol was a 5-hour drive, and that was my closest shop.
Ouch.
And a couple of nights a week I stayed away just to kind of break it up. But I did really want to get home to obviously see Sarah. So it wasn't easy.
No, I can imagine.
Hundreds of thousands of miles and many nights stuck on the M25 and M4. But it was worth it, because after my stint in the southwest, I kind of moved to a region then closer to home.
So it was.
So it was all worthwhile in the end. Yeah.
So presumably your love is travel and getting people on holiday, etc. So was that a completely different job, as in managing stores and
it was very different working on the road, and I suppose where I feel I did well as a regional manager is I knew what the managers were going through, and I even knew where the apprentices what they were going through, because I'd done it all myself. I suppose what I wasn't great at as a regional manager is what you might call the remote management side of things, because I often found myself going on a shop visit, but then sitting down serving. Because I'd hear someone say, "Oh, I'm looking to, for example, go to Borneo," and I'd say, "I know a bit about Borneo. Take a seat." I shouldn't really have been doing that, but that really was where my heart was talking to the customers, having a bit of a laugh with them, and obviously sharing my travelling experiences with them.
So is that why you then decided to take yourself into Devon Travel and
definitely
get back to doing what you love?
For the last 4 years I've been out of travel. I left Thomas Cook to look after the Boots stores in London. So out of travel completely. And that was when my first son Adam arrived, because although the perks for working for Thomas Cook were great, the basic salary wasn't. And obviously with a child we weren't going to be going on holiday that often anymore, so I thought, well, actually I best now make some money. So I started working for Boots, looked after all their shops in London, which was great. Gave me obviously, because I'd only ever worked for 2 companies before, Lump-Holly and Thomas Cook, so that gave me a really good understanding of how a big company worked. Obviously it was great working in London as well. For the last 4 years working in Boots in London, and throughout that time I'd always missed travel, because that really was where my heart was. But didn't want to go back to doing what I was doing before. I'd always wanted to have a shop in Woodbridge, because that was where I was first a manager for Thomas Cook. I managed Thomas Cook in Woodbridge. So I knew the town well, I liked the town. I often go up, before opening a shop I'd often go there with my family, and we'd walk down the river and through the thoroughfare. And so I took the decision just to simply post letters through units on the thoroughfare, of which I thought would be a suitable size for me to open a travel agent, because there were never any vacant units. So I thought, well, let's just pop a letter through the door. And the letter simply read a bit about me, and basically said, if you ever consider selling the lease of your unit, give me a call. And luckily enough I got a phone call from one of the who was one of the leaseholder of the unit that I'm now in, so next door to Co-op, opposite Peacocks on the thoroughfare, so a great location. And he said, if you're interested, you can have it.
Oh, brilliant!
And so that kind of so opened up in January.
So in January, obviously a bit of investment from yourself, and bearing in mind the world we live in at the moment, was that a big risk, or was that
a massive risk?
A massive risk.
A massive risk. We literally put everything we had into it and more, to the extent where I sold my car to help fund it. All savings, all current account, all everything, because the banks aren't particularly interested in lending to the travel sector, because it is classed as a high risk sector.
Well, yes.
And I can appreciate that. I really can. So a lot. Everything we had, along with credit cards to the max. But kind of, I knew though, I wouldn't have done it if I didn't think it would work,
So
because I've got a young family. I need to provide for them.
Yes.
I was lucky before in that I was used to getting a good salary coming in every month, so I wouldn't have done it if I didn't think it would work. And 9 months on, it's working.
Oh, that's
so you know, all is good.
Fantastic. So you mentioned so just tell us what Deben Travel actually does. Well, what is it?
Okay,
is it focused on? Is it
the important thing for me about Deben Travel, of which we tell pretty much every customer that walks through the door, is that we're an independent travel agent.
Okay.
So, for example, Thomas Cook are owned by Thomas Cook, so there is a focus on them selling their own holidays. And they're a great company. I wouldn't have worked with them for so many years if I didn't think they were. Thompson own Thompson, and Thompson own First Choice Travel as well.
Yep.
And Thomas Cook last year also purchased Cooperative Travel.
Oh, right.
So in fact, if you look at the high street,
Yeah.
all the major travel agents are owned by two companies, either Thompson or Thomas Cook. So I really did feel there was a gap in the market, particularly in Woodbridge, for another independent travel agent.
Yep.
So the great thing about being independent is we can book Thompson, Thomas Cook, First Choice, all your well-known companies, but if someone came in and said, I'm looking to do a ranching holiday in Texas, and whilst there I want to stay, I don't know, in an eco-friendly hotel, we can package that customer's holiday together for them.
Okay.
It's all still financially protected, because we've got what they call an ATOL licence, so it's all still financially protected.
Yep.
So really we can piece a holiday together for a customer that many of the major high street travel agents couldn't, and that's where we really differentiate ourselves, is that we can pretty much do anything.
Okay.
And we're already getting a bit of a reputation for that, and doing some, you know, challenging inquiries, I should say, but the customers do appreciate that as well.
Okay, so it's very bespoke. You can go from package to bespoke in a heartbeat.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Something that I'm working on at the moment is I've got a family. They're looking to fly into Istanbul in Turkey. They're looking to do rail travel around Turkey.
Okay.
They're then looking to do a cruise.
Wow.
And then fly home.
Okay.
Of which, you know, isn't particularly straightforward,
No,
but
definitely not.
actually it's a great challenge. I see it as a really lovely challenge, and also I see it as an honour to think that a family, after saving up money to go on a holiday, have put their trust in us to look after them.
To get it right,
and that's the important thing.
So you mentioned to me earlier that you have 5 employees.
Yes, that's right.
So with my totally probably pointless view of travel, because I don't know enough, is I when I go into a travel agent, you see someone behind a desk with a computer, they're typing in and go, that's booked. So what does your team do then?
Okay, so within the team we've got we've just taken on an apprentice. Because that's how I started, so I thought it would be great to have an apprentice. So Danielle started with us last week, and Danielle had previously been to Farlingay School, and actually at the moment she's over in Egypt. Within her first week we managed to get her what we call an educational, which is one of the few perks of the job, and so Danielle's over sampling the sights and sounds of a Nile cruise and various hotels in Egypt.
Wow.
That will really benefit her when she comes back, because she'll be able to tell our customers about the places that she's visited. So we've got Danielle. All of the other team members have been in travel a very, very long time, and have worked in business travel, worked for airlines, so done a lot. If someone comes in and wants to book a normal holiday, it is pretty straightforward. If someone comes in with a brochure and says, I want to go to that hotel, it really is kind of a 30-40 minute job.
Okay.
But what we find we're getting more and more of now is customers saying, I like the look of that holiday, but I want to fly from Southend Airport, and I'd like to go for 10 nights rather than 14, and I'd like to be all-inclusive rather than bed and breakfast. Then we deal with over 200 different tour operators, and so it then takes time to research who does the flights, who does the hotel, who's doing it at the best price. Should we arrange a bus transfer from the airport to the hotel, or actually would our customers prefer a taxi transfer? Do they need visas? Are there any health requirements? So there actually is then quite a lot involved. And then finally, before presenting, if you like, the options to the customer,
Yeah.
we have to make sure that the holiday that we're putting forward to the customer is all financially protected.
Okay.
Because back on the 1st of April, the Civil Aviation Authority got a lot stricter with what they call their ATOL licence.
Yep.
So an ATOL licence, so Air Travel Organisers licence, if you're booking a holiday including a flight element,
Yep.
if it's not ATOL protected, it means you've not got any financial security. So
Yeah.
if the airline, for example, were to go out of business, you'd simply lose all your money.
Lose your money, yeah.
So we have to make sure as well that what we're doing
Yeah.
is financially protected from the customer,
Okay.
for the customer, from a legal perspective, but also to cover ourselves. Because if we do something and it's incorrect,
Yeah.
it's out of my pocket,
Yes.
and obviously as a new business that could have devastating consequences.
Yes.
So it's about doing it right, really.
So the ATOL license, has that come in due to sort of failings of other companies?
Absolutely, yeah. They've got a lot stricter because there have been some collapses over the last few years, and the Civil Aviation Authority have just got a lot tighter now in making sure that if a customer is booking a holiday that is ATOL protected, then we give them what they call an ATOL certificate, which is a yellow certificate.
Oh.
So anybody booking a holiday, whether it be online or in a travel agent, if that holiday is ATOL protected, that the customer should be asking to see and be given a copy of that ATOL certificate.
Oh, right. So it's a very important thing.
Very
if you don't get
important.
it, then
if you don't get
covered.
it, you're not covered.
Okay.
Yeah, because if something was to happen,
Yeah.
you need that yellow ATOL certificate to be able to make a claim.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
very important.
Very important.
Yeah. And over the next, probably I would say 4 to 6 months, there'll be a lot of press advertising on this just to make customers aware of it.
Okay. So
Which is great for us because we're doing it.
Great.
People will hopefully come to us and recognise that we're doing it right. So
brilliant.
yeah.
Brilliant. So ATOL, presumably it was part of your setup cost to you definitely need it.
Yeah, you've got to have it. It costs. It obviously costs a huge amount of money, but in this day and age, fewer people are booking a traditional package holiday. More people are wanting what we call a tailor-made or dynamically packaged holiday. So, for example, flights with, for example, say Ryanair, EasyJet, or Virgin, whoever it may be, accommodation through someone else. Because doing that, we can tailor-make the customer's holiday to what they want it.
Exactly.
So, if they have only got 10 nights off work, we can book them a 10-night holiday.
Yeah.
Rather than a holiday from the brochure, which may only be 7 or 14 nights. And then that gives us really good flexibility. But importantly, it gives the customer what they want.
So, how are you competing with the online companies that do this? Is it due to face-to-face? People still want that?
I think there are a large percentage of people that still want face-to-face, personal recommendations, to know they can come in and talk to someone.
Yeah.
But importantly as well, we've got our Deben Travel have their own website.
Yep.
So we have got our website if people want to book using that format as well.
Okay.
But because we're independent and because we deal with so many different tour operators, over 200 different tour operators, if a customer sees a holiday online at a certain price, there's a very, very good chance that we would be able to do it at exactly the same price.
Oh, really?
Just from researching through. So if a customer finds a holiday online, there's a very good chance that it's a tailor-made holiday. So flights with EasyJet, accommodation with, for example, a company called Get a Bed, and transfers through someone else, and we can then package it together for them. If we can't get it at that price, we'll say to the customer, we've found that holiday, we're £40 more. The decisions, for £40 you can come in and see us, or you can do it online. But more often than not, we do find that we're the same price as online.
Okay.
Sometimes though, we will find out that a customer may contact us and say, I found a particular holiday online that I'd like to book. But then when we go through and check it online, it might not have, for example, transfers from the airport to the hotel included. They're normally £20 per person minimum. It might not have a luggage included, because airlines now don't automatically include a luggage allowance. So although initially you might feel you found a bit of a bargain, by the time you go through to book it,
click all the extras.
The holiday's a lot more expensive than you first thought it was. And so we can obviously make sure we're quoting the correct money as well.
So does that mean that your team are spending a lot of time on the phone ringing people, asking the right questions, or is it more of a internet searching? And
I think a good mix of both. We obviously need to find out we're speaking to our customers, asking the right questions, making sure we really understand what our customers are looking for from a holiday.
Oh, indeed, yeah.
Are they looking for a beach holiday where they're just looking to chill out for a week, or are they looking to go somewhere where they can go out, see the sights, sounds, local history? Exactly. Do they want kids clubs? Do they want a jacuzzi in the room? There's lots and lots of different things, and so it's about establishing what the customer really wants. That's very, very important.
So have you had some really interesting requests coming through?
Yeah, we often. Various different requests, but because there are some amazing hotels out there now. A new hotel's just opened in the Maldives with an underwater restaurant. There's another hotel in the Maldives with an underwater nightclub. There's a brand new hotel in Mexico with a lazy river that runs around the grounds, so you can sit in a big inner tube and roll around. Hotels now are becoming the newer hotels, particularly the 5-star all-inclusive hotels, are becoming a lot more luxurious, where you can get butler service in your room, swim-up pool, jacuzzi, optics, everything. And so we do get some strange requests, but then it's the customer's holiday.
It's a holiday, yes, indeed.
And the other thing as well is that we always remember, we book a lot of weddings, overseas weddings and honeymoons,
so you do.
Anniversaries.
Yes.
And so it's important that it's right, particularly weddings. Because myself and Sarah got married overseas.
Oh, did you?
And so we know how important it is for it to be right if you're getting married abroad.
Yeah, if it's not right.
So we particularly put even more focus into a wedding overseas, because it's got to be right.
Yes, indeed.
Down to the little things, like if you don't forget to take a nice pen to write out your table cards if you've got other guests coming. Don't forget to make sure your wedding dress is packaged correctly, and we've got additional insurance for the wedding dress should anything happen to it en route. So there's a lot of extra things that's really important.
It's that personal touch to show that you care.
And you know what? You wouldn't get that online.
No,
because no one's going to jump out of that screen and say, "Don't forget to triple pack your wedding dress," and don't forget to take these bits and pieces, because you just wouldn't get that online, which is a service you'd get from us.
So what holidays are selling well at the moment? What are people wanting at the moment, or is there a whole array?
As far as destinations are concerned, I think the really popular destinations at the moment, Croatia, very popular, very good standard of accommodation. You've got. Not only you've got fantastic beaches, but you've got cities such as Dubrovnik, Split. You can do day trips over to Montenegro. So Croatia's really, really popular. Turkey, very popular for good value, high standards. You're getting that in Turkey. But then there's a lot of other, shall we say, up and coming destinations still as well. Bulgaria over the past few years has been extremely popular. Romania, Slovenia. Places like that. I think more people now are well travelled, and so are maybe looking for something a little bit different.
So more adventurous.
That's not to say your Mallorca, Minorca, Ibiza, mainland Spain aren't still popular, because they are. But more people are now looking for something a little bit different. But I think particularly since we've opened, one of our, if you like, top selling products would be cruise. Cruising's become more affordable than ever.
Yes.
I think a lot of people like the thought of being somewhere different every day. And obviously the standards on board are fantastic. So cruising is certainly very popular.
So even after the disaster in Italy and so on, it hasn't really...
No, well, I'd say once after the Costa Concordia disaster, I think it did make people sit back and think. I think it did affect those people that maybe hadn't cruised before, because it made them think, I'm not so sure now if a cruise is for me. But those people that are cruisers, that cruise on a regular basis, that because there are now more cruise ships in the market than ever before, the prices are better than ever before, and so more people are cruising. Next year we've got more and more cruises as well going out of places like Harwich, out of Tilbury in Essex, and obviously Southampton and Dover, which are our main ports, or obviously you can fly out. So cruising, it doesn't have to be one of these huge 5,000 cabin floating hotels with that with a wave machine on the back, with an ice skating ring, with a rock climbing wall, which some of them have now. There are still your very traditional oak panelling, old-fashioned cruise ships.
So a cruise to meet different people.
Yeah, absolutely. And even something that has also been popular is sailing ships.
Oh, okay.
And then really getting involved. Still very luxurious, but a huge tall ship sailing around the Caribbean. God, be lovely.
I can imagine it would be nice. Yeah. So on top of so cruises or easy access if it's from here, Harwich, blah. But you're saying, I mean, the choice of airlines as well. So and airports, I guess. Southend.
Well, back in May, EasyJet started flights from Southend. Obviously, from this part of the world, many people want to fly locally. So Norwich, Stansted, Southend are our local airports. Getting to Gatwick and Heathrow can be a bit of a drag, really. It's not a particularly nice way to start or finish the holiday. So if we can book people from Southend or Stansted, then we will. One of the greatest issues is the majority of flights out of those airports are going to be with the no-frills airlines, such as, for example, EasyJet. But this month, EasyJet have now launched where you can actually pre-book your seat number.
Okay.
They'll charge you for it. But,
of course.
But don't they? They do like to charge for everything.
Yes, they do.
You can pre-book your seat. So something that people off flying, say, Ryanair in the past or EasyJet in the past was that you would check in and not be given a seat number. So when you boarded the aircraft, it was all a bit of a scrum. Everyone trying to get to the seats. But now, from as little as £3 each way, you know exactly where you're going to be sitting. So I do actually think that it's a really good move from EasyJet, and it helps us because we can then help more people fly locally, which is great. I think all the long haul flights are still Gatwick and Heathrow. Because we do a lot of tailor-made holidays to places like Australia, New Zealand, Malaysia, Vietnam, Cambodia, very popular as well at the moment as up-and-coming destinations. Still have to go down to Gatwick and Heathrow for those destinations, but then I think those ones are a bit more of a special trip.
Yes,
and you can stay in a hotel the night before and relax before your flight. So very good.
Oh, brilliant. So tell us very briefly the future. What does it hold for Deben Travel?
I'd like to... more people need to be aware of the website. We launched the website back in February.
So what's the website?
It's debentravel.com.
Simple.
Let's keep it easy. I need to get behind the website more. I must be honest, I'm not a particularly, shall we say, techie person.
Okay.
Another company produced the website and look after the website, and I think the website's great. I just now need to tell more people about it. But I think for the future, I think first of all, let's make sure we're doing it right in Woodbridge and carry on with what we're doing, because we are getting really good feedback, some good repeat customers, and we are doing well. But certainly in the future, I would like to open a couple of other stores. Just because I think it would be a great thing to spread the name and spread the service. But at the same time, I don't want to go down the road of having many stores, because then I'm going back to what I did before, which is what I got away from, i.e. going around visiting different stores. But I think let's get more people aware of the website. Let's perfect things in Woodbridge and carry on with our success, and then look into expanding in the future.
Well, thank you very much for your time today.
Not a problem. Thanks for having me.
That's absolutely fine. So this has been Flx Matters. So if you're looking for a holiday now, getting into winter, it's probably a good time. So we will see you tomorrow. Bye bye.